the old methods of recruiting talent, attracting talent, retaining talent are no longer going to be relevant as we venture into the bold new world. So I think that's my take on the relevance of the old model versus the going forward model. We are now looking at people who can add value, who can hit the ground running. We don't have the luxury of having people go through a 5-year learning cycle. We train you, we groom you, we get you to imbibe our culture. Right now the pace of change is so rapidly evolving that we need people who can hit the ground running from day one. I see this even in the startup ecosystem, for example. I know a number of companies that I'm associated with. During the early stages of their venture, they need a particular type of skill set which may or may not be relevant going forward, and they find it very difficult to attract good talent because they don't have the brand, they don't have the legacy, they don't have the deep pockets to be able to make those kind of long-term commitments to good talent. One of the biggest challenges corporations face in this extremely competitive environment is productivity. I think one of the challenges I remember when I started in 3M, we were about an $8 billion company and we had about 70,000 employees. Today we are a $34 billion company and we have 70,000 employees. But now I think you're going to start seeing increasingly people saying that, listen, I need you for this particular skill that you bring to the table. I need you for this duration. And now you're starting to see millennials also wanting that kind of they're not looking for sort of lifetime employment. They're not looking for medical insurance facilities. They're not looking for provident fund and 401ks. They're wanting to add value in this duration, move on to their next project. And so I think one of the key drivers that's going to drive an agile, liquid workforce is going to be productivity. Productivity is going to be a key driver. Companies are going to start saying that we do not have the luxury of bringing on board people and having them spending 6 years grooming them, training them, teaching them, coaching them, educating them, investing in them. So there is going to be a dramatic transformation in that sense, and the driver is going to be productivity. One of the big challenges that they're going to face as they move to an agile workforce is going to be cultural fit. I think the organizations in the old days, like the old saying goes, culture eats strategy for breakfast, and that's an oft-used phrase. And people, and again in my own company, we took great pride in the culture that we had built. A culture of innovation, a culture of tolerance for failure, ability to experiment. Those are kinds of unique cultural dimensions that corporates prided themselves on. And I feel that now that dynamic has changed. There is a far more willingness to say that, hey, listen, I'm being valued for the skill I bring to the table rather than my just blind loyalty to the organization. That shift from loyalty to skill and saying I'm valued for my skill, I'm not valued for the fact that I stayed with you for 30 years. I think that's going to be transformational. Over the last few years, I have been increasingly involved with a number of startups in India, and I think I've seen a few common threads that across all these multiple initiatives that I'm associated with, and one of the key common themes that is applicable across the board is talent. You have these very passionate founders who have, by dint of their ideas and their hard work, have sort of launched this initiative. But one of the biggest challenges they face is their ability to attract talent. So I believe that one of the biggest users of the gig economy are going to be startups. I believe it addresses for them their issue that I need a particular skill set, I need it for a particular duration, I need it at a particular stage in the history of my company, which may not be relevant 5 years from today, but is relevant today. And so I think for them to be able to use this pool of talent, which brings expertise, which are willing to take it on almost like a project assignment, but they bring deep expertise in that particular area. So I believe that the startup ecosystem, which is being now becoming increasingly rapidly growing in India, are going to be people who can really take advantage of this, because I think they will, for them, this is a magic solution. It's a magic wand that I get talent quickly, I get talent that's relevant to my needs, and I get them for as long as I want them. So my advice to startup entrepreneurs is that, the key winning strategy is you can have the greatest idea, but if you don't have the right team to execute and implement, it's going to go nowhere. So really focus on ensuring that you bring people who are bringing complementary skills to your own expertise, and they fill the gaps that you have. You may not believe you have any gaps, but you want people to bring in complementary skills that would complement your own skills. So I think that's my one counsel to startup entrepreneurs. Do it early, do it quick, do not defer that decision. You can defer buying a fancy office or defer buying a fancy car, but do not defer bringing in the right talent early on, because that's going to be your game changer and going to drive success.